5 predicted or projected starters for the Carolina Panthers did not show up to OTAs last week. How do you feel about that? Or 2 weeks ago, whenever
Do you have their names off the top?
Jadeveon was definitely one.
Eddie
Was another one.
Wasn't Hunt one?
Robert Hunt was one. Josie Jewell was one. And I don't know on the 5th one. So I'm gonna shoot. Luckily he gets shot bail because I don't know who it is off the top of my head. But I know those 4 were definitely guys that didn't show up.
I would say it pisses me off even more coming from the new guys.
Oh, excuse me. Alshon Robinson. That was number 5.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it pisses me off coming from the new guys because it's like, one, it's like you getting a new job somewhere and then you don't show up on the first day.
Yes.
And it's like you're new to the system, you're new to the team, you don't know it yet. This is your first opportunity to go, see what the atmosphere is going to look like. Actually bond with your players and coaches on the field. Like, this is your first time at real on-field activity with your new team for the first time. And then it's almost like a slap in the face you don't show up. Because what makes you think that you're above the team?
Yep.
Once you start acting like you're above the team, then, I mean, I just lose all respect for you. And Robert Hunt is rumored that, him and his family just had a baby.
So I shoot him a little bit of bail as well.
I understand that, but that was already something coming in about Jadeveon Clowney because we didn't even know if we were going to sign him
before training camp.
Yeah, because it's like he doesn't like to be real. Like, honestly, this is one of your last stops before you're out of the league, probably.
Yeah, and
like,
to be
if
honest,
we're just being honest.
Yeah, that's facts. And to be even more honest, you haven't really done shit for you to be maneuvering in that sense.
And Alshon Robinson.
Yeah,
him
either.
And Robert Hunt, I mean, we just paid you. You're one of the highest paid linemen in the league.
Yes.
So, I mean, come on, bro. And Eddie Pinheiro, kickers are easily replaceable. So, I mean,
cool.
that I will give you that. But I forgot the argument that we was having.
It wasn't even an argument because I told you to save it for the podcast, but you were just like, I mean, after the Atlanta game, he has been extremely consistent.
Yeah, he has been consistent. So if you feel like he's worth more than what he's getting paid, go bet on yourself.
Cool, go bet on yourself elsewhere.
I mean,
we no longer need your services.
If we can't find anything better, then
especially when you got XFL kickers booming 60, 63 yarders on the regular.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, you can go XFL, you can go CFL, you can go anywhere. All due respect, you can go find a kicker from anywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
so I don't know why he thinks. I don't know where Eddie got this newfound confidence or whatever the fuck. But it's baffling to me. I'll be honest.
I just don't blame him because it's like, I mean, bet on yourself, go get your money. You feel like you're worth more than that, then, by all means, do what you got to do. Now, if we decide to part ways with you, then so be it.
So that's acceptable to you?
I'm saying
it's acceptable from the kicker, but it's not acceptable from anybody.
Because he's holding out for money. They're holding out to jerk off. It's two different things. Okay. You just got signed to the team.
Yeah, I think, like, when you guys first brought that initial report of how many players was, like, holding out or were holding out, I was hot initially.
Not showing up.
Excuse me.
For context, OTAs is 100% voluntary.
Right.
It's not mandatory.
It is. But every team that wins the Super Bowl, immediately following the Super Bowl, will always tell you it starts in OTAs. It starts in those voluntary, those off-season programming, those off-season workouts. That's where you really build the team chemistry. That's where you build the camaraderie. That's where you build the discipline. And so, like, for me as a fan, if, wanting to see, like, just in general, wanting to see the Panthers succeed next season and knowing how much they invested in outside free agents and wanting to be able to see the coaches get their hands on these new players and this new team as quickly as possible. So, because it's already going to be a massive install because it's a whole new regime, whole new playbook, new everything. These guys are coming over from a new team, so they're going to have to relearn everything from ground one just along with everybody else. So why not be there and, like, take these young guys, as you said you would, under your wings and be those leaders and set the tone for this organization moving forward? Because Carolina's in need of a desperate culture shift. And we said, what was the big problem with Brian Burns, right? In games, he wouldn't show up. That shit starts in the offseason.
Very true.
You got to show up.
It would be a little different. I would feel a little different if it was a guy like Adam Thielen or like Derek Brown that was like, okay, I'm not coming to voluntary OTAs.
That's almost worse.
Not really.
Like Derek Brown.
I'm about to say. I mean,
not really.
Nah.
No, because y'all are missing the point that these niggas are new. Like, this is their first time being with the team. That's what makes the situation god awful.
But with this coaching staff, everybody might as well be new.
I was about to say, to me, everybody is new. To me, it shouldn't have been voluntary. Everybody should have had their ass in that building.
Yeah, but
because
I mean,
everything, like he said, everything is new. New coaching staff. Like I said earlier, first year head coach. You have a shit ton of rookies, a shit ton of people that you brought in. Now I get it. Josie Jewell, he's been a part of the he's been a part of the scheme with EJ before.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Like all of that, like it's great and it's phenomenal and it's cool. But like I really just can't sit through another year of just half-ass bullshit. I'm not gonna lie to you, and to me, this is a direct indicator already that that's what's gonna be going on. What like I don't understand it. I don't get it, bro. Like I understand.
Well, I mean, you have to. I don't know if it's a legal standpoint or it's just like a thing that's like known that you have to make it voluntary.
Yeah, no, that was
based on
negotiated
league
on.
rules. Yeah, I was about to say based on league rules and with the NFLPA and everything like
But
that.
I understand
And
what
that's
you're
great.
saying. You can have an understanding with your team and your
Right.
players that
Dave Canales should have went in that building, in the meeting room, and said, listen, just like they told me at my job one time, hey, you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do. But just based off of how we feel as a company, how we feel as a team, we think it may be best for you to show up.
And like
simple.
And it's like, because this is gonna sound outrageous, but like I'm comparing the work ethic. Okay, when I say this, but Tom Brady almost got fined for having that practice during the COVID year when they were said to keep everybody off the field. He got fined for having them out at that field trying to practice prior to OTAs. Like that's what, and then they went out and won the chip. That's what you want to see. Patrick Mahomes was at OTAs. I promise you that. He didn't skip a day. So when you see the greatest in the league, the people that you're competing with, if you really want to be the best and they're out there putting in more work than you, how are you ever going to be better? How are you ever going to beat anyone? And it starts now. Like that's my whole like problem with this. It looks bad on the work ethic.
And it wasn't just them either. Like those were just the 5 projected starters that didn't show up. It was a couple of other guys too. Couple of other rookies that would potentially be fighting for a roster position. David Moore was on that list as well. And, hey, if you watch, I mean, no harm, no disrespect.
well, he's probably
He's probably cut.
Yeah,
He's probably cut. But either way, I mean, if you feel that way and you feel like you probably cut, you need to be showing up every opportunity you can.
I mean,
Or I'm off in that.
Well,
you're 100% off.
yeah, I agree, but you know, we kind of signed him early in the offseason, so after he done seen the draft and all this other shit, he probably got a little uninspired. So
That's soft shit.
And that's
so
the
then,
wrong
if that's the
mentality,
case,
so get
right?
going.
I was about to say, so if that's the case, then we should already cut him off.
I mean, I don't think he should be here anyway. So I can care less if they cut him.
It's a bad start. Bad start to me. Bad start from a season standpoint. Bad start from a new regime standpoint. Bad start when you have a second-year quarterback who you know struggled last year. Bad start, especially when you have a top 3 paid position player in Robert Hunt. Now, again, if he had his baby, cool. I understand it.
That's the only one I'll give a pass
That's the
for.
only one I'll give a pass to. But Josie Jewell, I understand you've been in the system before, but I don't give a fuck. Jadeveon, we already got our thoughts on you as far as your work ethic is concerned, as it does when it's not pertaining to actual game field. But when it's training camp, when it's OTAs, whatever the case may be, we've heard rumors already about you not showing up or not signing with a team because you don't want to go to training camp and you don't want to go, the additional mile. So it just is nasty. And Alshon Robinson, I mean, respectfully, I just simply don't know what you've done to earn that right to not show up to shit when it's voluntary, but cool. But this is, to me, it's just setting a bad baseline of the expectation of heading into the season. I don't like it. I don't like it. And like you said, I especially don't like it from guys that are new. And to be honest, I might even lean your way a little bit more in saying if it was Derek Brown, cool. If it was Adam Thielen, cool. Because, me and Bryce proved what we were going to prove last year We proved that we can make it work. I went for over a band. I showed that I still have it. I'm going to take this time, rest my body, etc. But all of these new guys, that shit it looks nasty to me.
And I know you said something about Dave Canales should have went in and said, like, hey, this is how it's going to go. We can't necessarily say he didn't say that or alluded to it, because at the end of the day, these are grown men. That's why Deion Sanders was basically, this is kind of irrelevant, but kind of goes into the point, like, why he would never coach in the NFL. Because it's like these guys are making just as much money as me, not more. Like, it's hard to get them to buy in. It's going to be harder to get them to buy in. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, they still see voluntary. They probably did this with their other team. So, even if Dave Canales told them, like, hey, I don't really want this to be voluntary, even though, that's the rules. But at the end of the day, some of them could have probably been like, okay, we don't give a fuck.
Fair enough. Top 5 most impressive players out of OTAs thus far from Cat Crave. I'm going to start from the bottom because...
Is this going to be a surprise or something?
Yeah. So I'll start from the bottom. Number 5, Xavier Woods. Love to see it. And why is he a veteran that has been in this organization for 4 or 5 years, and yet he still shows up to OTAs and still works his ass off? But that's neither here nor there. We'll move on. Bryce Young.
Foundation.
Fair enough. That may be the case. Maybe that was the expectation in Dallas. I don't know. Bryce Young at number 4. Xavier Legette at number 3. J.C. Horn at number 2. And Ian Thomas at number 1. Now,
wait, run through that one more time.
Ian Thomas.
Mm-hmm. X.
Yep. J.C. Horn at 2. Xavier Legette at 3, Bryce at 4, and Xavier Woods at 5.
And Ian Thomas at 1?
Ian Thomas at 1. The most impressive at OTAs thus far. And I'll be honest, I seen how everybody was on his top about that video that came out. He looked bigger to me. Yes, he did look bigger, but he also looked a little faster, and his hands looked sharp. Now, I know I'm going to get slandered, but...
Yeah, I feel like you just gassing the nigga up. But, it's not...
It means nothing because it's shorts and T-shirts.
Yeah, and, honestly, there's a lot of competition in that tight end room now.
Yes, sir.
So, like, if he wants his spot on this team, because, honestly, I feel like he overstayed his welcome already, in my opinion. So
I'd agree.
It's like, you see we got the young tight end we just brung in, drafted him pretty early in the draft, so it's like, you kind of got to put on the show to even damn near make the roster.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised at that. J.C. Horn, he also is basically on a prove-it year.
Yep.
Like, can you stay healthy? Can you be the guy that we drafted in the first round? So he's on a prove-it year. Xavier Legette, this is your first pick of the draft. Like, this is the first pick of the draft. So, he has to go out there and show why we chose him with our first pick in the draft. And so, and that wide receiver room is not a slouch either. That wide receiver room is pretty deep. Like, it's going to be some guys who are left off of that starting depth chart. So that makes sense there. Bryce, you know what kind of season you had last year. Granted, there was a lot of other factors around you that played into the year you had, but there was also a lot of improvement that needs to be made from last year to this year.
I agree.
And you're the quarterback. You're the leader of this team, so you need to be having a good day, or
Set
you
the
need
expectation.
to. Yeah. And then who was number 5?
Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods, like you said, just that veteran presence. Could have been the foundation that was set. What he plays free safety or strong safety?
Free.
Because we signed a couple safeties in the offseason.
We did.
So that's probably another competitive room as well. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at the names that are on this list. The one name I wish I would have seen on the list was it. But, that's neither here nor there.
It's going to be hard to get that one in OTAs and shorts and T-shirts. Though.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
It's going to be impressive looking.
O-line is hard. O-line is difficult to kind of gauge in OTAs because their work is done with pads on. You know what I'm saying? It's all about hand placement and mechanics from a mechanical standpoint. So it's going to be hard to gauge that. But I would have liked to see his name on the list as well. He's on the hot seat.
Well, make it be not as hard. Based off the year you had last year, make it be not as hard. How about that?
I agree. I agree. He's on the hot seat. Ian Thomas is on the hot seat. J.C. Horn is on the hot seat. It's a couple of guys on that list that they need to have a good year this year. And unfortunately, y'all are going to think I'm being biased or y'all going to think I'm hating, but I believe Bryce Young is on the hot seat as well. Because I don't know how much patience Dave Tepper has. I'm not going to hold you. I was watching the clip. That we released yesterday, as a matter of fact, and that was one of the questions that we had in Q&A was, do we believe that Bryce Young, if he has another bad year, will Dave Tepper be patient, and will he even get a chance to prove himself in year 3? And to be honest, I don't know. I don't know if I see another season like last year from Bryce Young. I don't know if Dave Tepper is going to have the patience to be like, yeah, we still rocking with this nigga. I don't know. Let us win 3. Let us go 3-14 or 4-13, and I think niggas is on the hot seat. I do. Unless, like I said in that clip, it's a shootout every single game. Because defense is suspect. But, yeah, that's what I had. What did you have? You seem like you had a comment.
Yeah, just to touch on the original question. Now, because I don't want anybody to misconstrue my words here when I say this, but, like, you making plays in OTA is meaningless. You being at OTAs and you making plays at OTAs is 2 completely separate issues, right? So let me just go ahead and lay that out. But, like, this is not the first time that I've ever heard Ian Thomas looked great in shorts and T-shirts. I've been hearing Ian Thomas looks great in the offseason damn near since he got to Carolina. And this guy beside you being the main proponent of Ian Thomas, I mean, you would have thought he was the second coming the first time we ever saw him at Panthers training camp. So, like, I think it's really meaningless as far as that. And, like, with J.C. Horn, you just kind of want to see the guy healthy. X, you know, you kind of expect him to stand out a little bit. That is your first-round pick, as you said. You hope you see some improvement from Bryce Young. Like, you hope he would be one of the standouts, especially with some weapons. And the fact that he's not getting blitzed every play. So, you know, that he probably does look good now that he has a little bit of time to actually go through some reads and progressions and throw it before shit gets serious. And X has been consistent. I think he's been one of the most consistent players on the team. So it's not that surprising that he's having a good camp. It's who he is. So.
Agreed.